This is KGW News at Sunrise.
And good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, gone too soon. Neighbors remember a man tragically killed in Salem. Plus, neighbors file a lawsuit after last week's fire in Northeast Portland. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Daisy Caballero for a look at our Saturday forecast. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim. And yeah, good morning to all of our viewers. It is an absolutely beautiful start to our official weekend. It is 60 degrees here in the Rose City. Those winds coming out from the north at right about 7 miles an hour. And it's actually going to be a pretty nice day for many of us, especially for planning to be outdoors or do any outdoor activities. Checking in our current temperatures, low 50s for Hillsborough, King City, 54 for Sherwood, 56 for Westland. And we are seeing actually some warmer spots, those mid 60s for the Dalles. A little bit cooler as we're looking over east. So here's your day at a glance as we're looking at noon. We are going to be seeing those low 70s for the I-5 corridor, 80s for the Dalles and also for Pendleton, LeGrand, Baker City. And as we roll the clock, we're actually going to be getting a little bit warmer. We'll actually warm up right about 10 degrees or so. We'll see those low 80s for Portland, Salem, Albany, Eugene, and low 90s for many of us over east. But we'll have that 70 forecast coming up.
All right. Thanks a lot, Daisy. Well, we start this half hour in Salem. Friends and advocates are remembering a 64-year-old man beaten to death there. The victim, Russell Mikolas, was homeless and had been living on the street on and off for about 20 years. Alma McCarty attended last night's service and spoke with those who called him a kind and gentle soul.
At a small park in Salem, friends of Russell Mikolas came from all over to say their goodbyes.
Well, he was liked among all of us out here on the streets, and especially in this neighborhood that knew him well, and we all liked him. He was a friendly guy.
Friendly, generous, and gentle.
Just a good guy. He had a good smile. And he liked to joke. He didn't deserve it at all. Nobody does. Not like that. Not like that at all.
Police say on June 29th, around 4:30 in the afternoon, witnesses reported a teenager physically punching and kicking a person walking down the street. Russell, the 64-year-old victim of this brutal assault, was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. He died a little more than 2 weeks later, on July 17th.
It was senseless. There was no reason for it to happen.
It saddens me that the work is still there to do. To love well, to demonstrate that human life matters.
He was so gentle, but he was also so broken.
Jolene Garland, a friend and advocate, gave a eulogy for the man who spent decades living outside.
Russell had so many friends and even more acquaintances. He was a man that minded his own business and tried to look after himself the best he could.
He'd call me sometimes to meet him, and he'd say, "Can you bring some 20s and 50s?" And then we'd drive around and he'd just hand out money to people that needed it, because those people helped him.
Those gathered Friday afternoon vowed not to forget their friend.
Humans aren't disposable. And one day, hopefully, the day will come where we stop throwing people away.
As for the suspect, the Marion County Juvenile Director tells me the 17-year-old faces a murder in the second-degree charge and remains in custody. Officials confirm the teen could be tried as an adult. In Salem, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Now, the Washington County Sheriff's Office has identified the deputy shot and wounded in Tualatin earlier this week. He is Civil Deputy Charles Doze. He's a 10-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Office. According to a GoFundMe page, Doze was shot in the face, arms, and chest. He's still considered in serious condition, but is now stable in the hospital. The Sheriff's Office says they were able to speak with him, and he told them he's working hard to recover. Civil deputies like Doze are charged with serving legal orders. In this case, he was serving an eviction notice Wednesday morning when the tenant of the apartment, Christopher Graves, started shooting. About 2 hours after Deputy Doze was shot, Graves was found dead inside his apartment. Now, we do know officers on the scene shot back at the suspect, but it's not clear yet if one of their bullets killed him or if he shot himself. Well, in Beaverton, a 17-year-old boy will be tried as an adult for the murder of 13-year-old Milana Lee, who was killed last year. The suspect, Daniel Ryan Gore, is charged with first-degree murder and could face a 30-year prison sentence instead of 8 more years in juvenile custody. Milana's death rattled the Beaverton community. Just 13 years old and a 6th grader at Conestoga Middle School. Investigators found her strangled to death and hidden in a creek in May of last year. There was evidence she was sexually abused. Friday, the judge said Gore was sufficiently mature to understand his actions, and keeping him in the juvenile system is not in the best interest of Gore or society. Milana Lee's grandmother believes this decision was needed to protect other girls in the future.
I'm pretty sure they are emotional too, and they're all crying. I'm pretty sure. So I think it's the right decision. What I can say. That's all.
Well, since Oregon passed juvenile justice reforms in 2019, it's been very rare for a judge to rule that 15 to 17-year-olds charged with serious crimes should be tried as adults. According to the Justice Department, it's only happened a handful of times. Well, healing from domestic violence was the message during an event in Northwest Portland. Survivors and allies came out to Northwest 13th Avenue Plaza to bring awareness to the issue. Nonprofits were there to provide resources into how to get help if you're going through a domestic violence situation. Survivors also shared their stories to show others that they are not alone in this journey to healing from abuse.
I'm a mother of 4 now, and I try to unpack all of the generations of trauma, but this is mine alone because I'm the only woman in my entire family to serve my country. And I think it's my soul's fire that has gifted me the chance to speak up for my friends.
The event was made possible by a survivor-led nonprofit called Findability. It helps to financially empower survivors of domestic abuse. In Northeast Portland, neighbors are now suing over last week's fire at an empty Kmart store. A neighbor filed a class action lawsuit against the owners of the building, along with Prologis, which was leasing it. The lawsuit claims they failed to keep the property in good condition, maintain it, and that neighbors experienced harm when debris fell on their homes and yards. Court documents also lay out previous complaints made to the city about trash and homeless activity on that old Kmart site.